Retired cowboy purchases Apache girls to free them, marries them instead. Wild West true story. The sun hung low over the alien horizon, painting the sky in shades of burnt orange and deep purple. The wind whispered across the vast plains of the frontier planet, carrying with it the scent of dry stone and distant iron. Caleb Quinn rode slowly, his solar-powered hover horse gliding over the sand like a shadow. He had been traveling for days, seeking a place to hide, or perhaps a place to find something he had lost long ago. Caleb was a man of few words and many memories. His face, weathered by sun and wind, held the lines of 1,000 lonely miles. He wore a long duster coat, a wide-brimmed hat, and a utility belt loaded with tools and gadgets scavenged from old settlements. His eyes, sharp and gray, scanned the horizon as if it held secrets only he could see. He had heard stories of a place called Slow Rock, a small settlement where the land itself seemed to slow the heart. Travelers who stayed there said the air made you feel heavier. The wind carried your memories back to you, and time moved differently. Some said it healed you, others said it trapped you. Caleb didn't know which to believe, but he was drawn there anyway. The hover horse's feet skimmed the ground as Caleb approached the faint outline of the settlement. From a distance, Slow Rock looked almost like any other frontier town. Dusty streets, wooden buildings, and a few distant wind turbines humming softly. But as he came closer, Caleb noticed subtle differences. The shadows seemed longer than they should be, stretching lazily across the ground. Birds flapped their wings slowly, as if caught in syrup. Even the sound of his hover horse's motor seemed muted, like it belonged to another world. Caleb dismounted and tied his hover horse to a weathered post. The town was quiet, very quiet. The buildings creaked with the wind, and the few people he saw moved deliberately, their faces calm, almost empty. It was as if the entire place breathed at a slower pace. Caleb felt it too, a gentle heaviness in his chest that made him pause. "First time in Slow Rock?" a voice asked. Caleb turned to see a woman standing at the edge of the street. She was tall and lean, with hair the color of night and eyes that shimmered like distant stars. Her clothing was a mix of Old West style and something more futuristic. Straps, belts, and glowing insignias. She held a long staff with a crystal at the tip, and there was an air of calm authority about her. "Yes," Caleb said cautiously. "Name's Caleb. I'm just passing through, looking for work, maybe rest." "I'm Eris," she said, stepping closer. "You'll find neither here in the usual sense. Slow Rock doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you need. Sometimes that's rest. Sometimes it's a memory you thought you'd forgotten." Caleb frowned. "Sounds complicated," Eris smiled faintly. "It is. But if you stay, you'll see for yourself. Come, I'll show you the inn. It's the best place to feel the land slow your heart." Caleb noticed the architecture was odd. Wooden planks patched with strange metal plates, glass that shimmered with an internal light, and doors that hummed softly when opened. It was as if Slow Rock had grown naturally from the planet itself, a mix of frontier human settlements and alien influence. The inn was a modest 2-story building, its windows glowing softly in the fading sunlight. Inside, the air smelled of warm bread, metal, and faint ozone. A few patrons sat quietly at tables, sipping tea or cleaning tools. Nobody spoke loudly, and even the laughter of a child seemed slowed and distant. "You'll stay here tonight," Eris said. "Then we'll see if the land speaks to you." Caleb nodded, feeling the weight of the place pressing gently against his chest. He had stayed in many towns, on many planets, but this one felt alive in a different way. Not through movement or noise, but through presence. It was as if the ground itself remembered every traveler who had passed over it, storing their joys and regrets. He settled into a small room at the back of the inn. The bed was simple but comfortable, and the window overlooked the plains, stretching endlessly beyond the town. Caleb sat on the edge, letting his thoughts wander. Memories he had tried to bury began to surface. The faces of friends lost to war, a family he could never protect, the bounty he had failed to capture. He felt the land of Slow Rock pressing against him, urging him to remember, to face what he had long avoided. Outside, the wind shifted. Caleb could hear a soft hum, like distant machinery or a heartbeat buried in the soil. It called to him, tugging at something deep inside. He felt a strange mixture of fear and curiosity. Part of him wanted to leave, to escape the weight of memory. Another part wanted to follow the hum, to see where it led. The next morning, Caleb rose with the first light. The sun moved slower than he remembered, creeping lazily over the horizon. He stepped outside and noticed that even the shadows seemed to stretch longer than natural. moving like liquid over the ground. Eris was already waiting. "The land wants to show you something," she said. "Follow me if you wish." Caleb mounted his hover horse and followed her out of the town, toward a plateau on the edge of the plains. The path was lined with alien flora, plants that glowed faintly and shifted colors as if alive. Caleb felt the pulse of the land beneath him, slow and deliberate, like a giant heart beating beneath the surface. "What is this place?" he asked. "It is the heart of Slow Rock," Eris said, "and it has been waiting for you." As they climbed the plateau, Caleb felt the heaviness in his chest grow. But it was not painful. It was calming, like a river settling after a storm. The land slowed his thoughts, his breath, and even the racing memories of his past. He felt connected to the planet in a way he had never felt connected to anything before. At the top of the plateau they stopped. Below them stretched the endless plains, glimmering in the morning light. The wind carried a strange melody, soft and almost hypnotic. Caleb felt tears prick at his eyes, though he did not know why. The land had begun its work, slowing his heart, but also opening it. "You feel it," Eris said quietly. "Slow Rock does not heal instantly. It does not forgive quickly. But it shows you truth, and sometimes truth is what you need the most." James nodded, swallowing hard. He had come here looking for rest, maybe a distraction from his past. Instead he found something deeper, a reflection of himself in the slow, deliberate heartbeat of the land. The sun rose higher, casting long shadows that danced lazily across the plains. Caleb felt a strange peace, tempered by the awareness of all he had lost and all he had yet to face. Slow Rock was not a town for the faint of heart. It was a place that demanded honesty, patience, and courage, and for the first time in many years, Caleb felt ready to meet it. As they began their descent back toward the town, Caleb glanced once more at the plateau. The land seemed to shimmer, as if acknowledging his presence. Somewhere in the distance, a faint pulse of energy rippled across the plains, a soft call that promised mysteries yet to come. Caleb Quinn, lone cowboy of the frontier, felt the weight of the land pressing gently against his chest. The land slowed his heart, and in that slow rhythm he began to understand that his journey was only just beginning. The place where the land slows the heart had opened its doors to him, and Caleb knew deep down that he would never leave unchanged. Caleb woke slowly the next morning, the strange heaviness from Slow Rock still pressing gently against his chest. It was not an unpleasant weight, just a reminder that this place was unlike any frontier he had ever known. The town stirred quietly outside his window, people moving slowly, deliberately, as if they had all the time in the world. Even the wind seemed to pause between gusts, carrying only the faintest whispers of movement. He dressed quickly and stepped outside. The streets were nearly empty, save for a few residents who glanced at him with curious, steady eyes. There was no hurry here, no shouting or arguing, only the slow rhythm of life that matched the land itself. Eris appeared at the inn door, as if she had been waiting for him. "Good morning, Caleb," she said. Her eyes sparkled with the faintest glow in the sunlight. "Today you will see why people call this place the land that slows the heart." "Is it dangerous?" Caleb asked, unsure what she meant. "Not dangerous," she said, "but revealing. The land shows you what you need to face. Sometimes that is more than a visitor can handle." Curiosity and caution warred within him, but Caleb followed her anyway. She led him past the town limits, through the narrow paths of the desert, and toward the abandoned mining settlement that clung to the plateau's edge. The place was half buried in sand, with broken equipment scattered like forgotten bones. Caleb noticed immediately that the land seemed to pulse. The soil beneath his feet hummed faintly, almost like a heartbeat. Shadows twisted slowly, revealing shapes that would have gone unnoticed in a normal town. He realized the longer he walked, the more memories rose unbidden to the surface. Faces of people he had met, friends lost, choices he regretted, they all pressed against his mind, each image sharper and more vivid than before. "Why am I seeing this?" Caleb asked, slowing his steps. "The land," Eris said, "absorbs emotions. It remembers, it teaches you. If you listen carefully, it will show you what you need to see, not necessarily what you want to see." Caleb swallowed. The memories were not painful, not exactly, but they were sharp reminders of the life he had tried to forget. He saw a friend from a distant colony struck down during a raid. He remembered the woman he had left behind on a mining planet, promising he would return, but never did. And he saw himself standing alone, watching opportunities slip past his grasp, always running from something he could not name. "This is why people fear Slow Rock," he murmured. It doesn't hurt you physically, but it makes you face yourself." "Yes," Eris said, "and not everyone survives that reckoning." They reached the heart of the abandoned settlement. Rusted machines lay scattered across the sand, some half-buried, others still humming faintly as though powered by the planet itself. Caleb knelt and ran his fingers over one of the devices. Strange symbols glowed faintly along its surface, patterns that seemed to pulse with the same heartbeat he felt under his feet. "The settlers who came here were not like us," Eris explained. "They were explorers, scientists, and dreamers. They tried to harness the land's energy, but the land does not bend easily. It remembers everything, absorbs every thought and feeling. Those who tried to take too much, they were trapped here, their hearts slowed, their memories echoing through the soil." Caleb felt a shiver run through him. He looked around at the lifeless figures frozen in time, some hunched over broken machinery, others sitting motionless on the ground. Their eyes were open but empty, as if they had been emptied of all desire, all urgency by the land itself. "Are they alive?" he asked. "In a sense," Eris said softly. "The land keeps their bodies functioning, but their hearts are slowed too far. They cannot leave without understanding what brought them here." Caleb took a deep breath. He had faced danger before, had survived more than his share of battles, but nothing had prepared him for this. This was not about bullets or firepower. It was about patience, reflection, and courage. He could feel the land pulling at him, showing him memories he had long tried to bury, testing his ability to face them. As they walked further, a faint pulse of energy caught his attention. It came from the far edge of the plateau, a glowing shimmer that moved like a ripple in the sand. Caleb's curiosity flared. "What is that?" he asked, pointing toward the distant light. Eris paused. "That is what brings most travelers to the heart of the land. The pulse is a message, a call, but it is not simple. It will show you truths you may not wish to know, and it will demand choices. Only those ready to face themselves can follow it safely." Caleb's pulse quickened. For a moment he felt fear, but it was not the same fear he felt when facing enemies. This was the fear of discovery, of looking inward and seeing truths that could not be hidden. He nodded. "Then we follow it." The closer they approached the pulse, the more Caleb felt the land's rhythm in his chest. The energy seemed alive, almost sentient, responding to his heartbeat and breathing. Every step brought memories back more vividly. He remembered a friend who had saved him once only to disappear in a distant battle. He recalled the promises he had made and broken, the lives he could have saved but had not. The pulse led them to a shallow canyon where the sand glowed faintly beneath their feet. Strange, bioluminescent plants dotted the area, shifting colors like a living rainbow. The walls of the canyon hummed faintly, vibrating with energy that seemed to resonate with Caleb's own heartbeat. "Stay alert," Eris warned. "This is where the land tests you." Some travelers have gone in and never returned, not because the land meant them harm, but because they were not ready to face what they carried inside. Caleb nodded. He stepped forward carefully, feeling the sand vibrate under his boots. The pulse grew stronger with each step, and he felt a warmth spreading through his chest, a gentle pressure that seemed to slow his thoughts even as it sharpened them. Images from his past flickered before his eyes, the friend he had lost, the family he had abandoned, the bounty he had failed to capture. And then, unexpectedly, he felt a presence beside him. Not Eris, but something else. A faint shimmer in the air, like a figure half-formed from light and shadow. It moved slowly, deliberately, watching him. Caleb froze. His heart beat fast despite the land's slowing effect. "Do not fear it," Eris said quietly. "It is part of the land. It is showing you a reflection of yourself, your fears, regrets, and hopes. It will guide you if you let it, but it will also test your resolve." Caleb took a deep breath and focused. He let the shimmer move around him, feeling its presence as a mirror of his own emotions. The land pulsed gently beneath him, and he realized that the shimmer was not hostile. It was teaching him, helping him confront memories he had long avoided. Time seemed to stretch. Seconds became minutes, and minutes became hours, though he could not tell. The land's effect slowed his perception, forcing him to live fully in each moment. He saw the consequences of his past decisions clearly, felt the weight of his mistakes, and recognized the moments of courage and kindness he had overlooked. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the shimmer dissolved, leaving Caleb standing alone in the glowing canyon. The pulse of the land continued, soft and steady like a heartbeat that had grown in strength and clarity. Caleb felt a strange calmness, a mixture of understanding and acceptance that he had never experienced before. "The land is patient," Eris said, her voice cutting softly through the quiet. "It slows the heart not to punish, but to reveal. You have begun to see yourself, Caleb. That is the first step to surviving here, and to finding what you truly seek." Caleb nodded. The canyon seemed less intimidating now, almost welcoming. He realized that Slow Rock was not a place to conquer or escape. It was a place to understand, to reflect, and to grow. And though he did not yet know the full meaning of the pulse, he was ready to follow it further, wherever it might lead. As they began their return to the town, the land around them seemed to hum softly, a gentle reassurance that the journey had only just begun. Caleb felt a new connection with Slow Rock, a recognition that the place was alive, aware, and deeply intertwined with every soul who walked its soil. The sun dipped lower over the plateau, casting long shadows that stretched lazily across the glowing sands. Caleb's heart, though slowed by the land, felt lighter than it had in years. He was beginning to understand that the land demanded honesty, patience, and courage, and in return it offered clarity, reflection, and perhaps even peace. And somewhere in the distance the pulse continued to shimmer, a quiet promise of mysteries yet to unfold, waiting for Caleb to follow and discover the secrets hidden deep within the heart of Slow Rock. Caleb's mind was still buzzing from the events in the glowing canyon, though the land's slow rhythm kept him steady. Every step he took was deliberate, each breath long and controlled. The plateau stretched before him like an ocean of sand and stone, shimmering under the light of the twin suns. Somewhere ahead, the pulse he had felt before grew stronger, guiding him as if it had a purpose. Eris walked beside him, calm and deliberate, her eyes scanning the horizon. "The land will show you more now," she said. "You are ready to see the heart of Slow Rock. Few travelers ever reach this place, and fewer still return with understanding." Caleb nodded. He felt a strange mixture of fear and curiosity. He had already seen memories he had tried to bury, but the pulse promised more. Something deeper, something vital. The canyon had only been the beginning. As they followed the faint energy trail, the landscape began to change. Rocks twisted into strange shapes, glowing faintly from within. Alien flora sprang from the ground, each plant moving ever so slightly, as if breathing. Caleb's hover horse picked its way carefully among the glowing stones, its own engine soft and quiet in the slowing world. Then, ahead, they saw it, a massive structure rising from the desert, half buried in sand and rock. It was enormous, shaped like a heart, though not an ordinary heart. Its surface shimmered with energy, pulsing in slow, steady rhythms, echoing the beat Caleb had felt since he arrived. The structure seemed alive, ancient, yet aware, as if it had waited for him. Caleb dismounted, awed. It's beautiful," he whispered. "Yes," Eris said. "This is the heart of Slow Rock. It is older than the first settlers, older than any human memory. It is alive, and it remembers everything. It will show you truths, but you must face them willingly." Caleb approached slowly. The closer he got, the more he felt the rhythm of the heart in his own chest. Memories pressed on him like a tide, demanding attention. He saw his past decisions, moments of courage, moments of fear, and moments of failure. Each image was vivid, each choice replayed with clarity. The land was not cruel, but it demanded honesty. Eris gestured toward the glowing entrance of the heart structure. "Go inside. It will communicate with you there. The land will show you what you must see, but remember, you must accept it, not fight it." Only understanding allows passage. Caleb hesitated for a moment. He could feel the weight of his own heart slowing, the pulse of the land almost overwhelming. Then he took a deep breath and stepped inside. The interior was vast, far larger than it appeared from outside. Light flowed through the walls, pulsing gently like blood through veins. Caleb felt the energy surround him, pressing not on his body, but on his mind and heart. Shadows moved along the walls, forming shapes he recognized from his past, his lost friend, the family he had abandoned, the towns he had left behind. Then a voice, soft, not spoken aloud but felt within his mind, spoke. "Caleb Quinn, you have come far, but now you must see yourself clearly. What is it that you truly seek?" Caleb's chest tightened. He wanted peace. He wanted to stop running. But the truth pressed on him. He also wanted answers, understanding, and perhaps redemption. He swallowed, letting the pulse of the heart slow his racing thoughts. I don't know exactly, he admitted. I want clarity. I want to understand why I've run for so long, why I've made the choices I have. The heart pulsed again, and images swirled around him. He saw moments of fear when he could have helped others but chose self-preservation. He saw moments of courage when he risked everything to save someone else. And he saw moments of regret, deep and sharp, that he had buried beneath years of distance and solitude. The voice spoke again. These are your truths. The land does not judge. It only shows. Will you accept them? Caleb's breath trembled. For the first time, he did not try to deny his failures or hide his mistakes. He faced them, one by one, feeling the weight of each memory settle into his chest. The land slowed his heart further, not to trap him, but to allow him to feel fully, to understand fully. Then came a new sensation, warmth. Not heavy, but soft, like sunlight on his skin. It flowed through him, connecting him to the structure, to the land, and to every life that had touched this place before him. Caleb realized that the heart of Slow Rock was not just a relic. It was alive, and it held the history of every soul who had come here. It remembered, but it also healed. Eris's voice echoed in his mind, calm and guiding. The land will ask of you now. Will you take its knowledge and use it wisely, or will you take what you desire without understanding? This choice determines your fate, and the fate of those who may come after you. Caleb's thoughts raced. He could take the technology, the energy, and the knowledge of the heart and bring it back to other planets. It could help countless people, give him power, wealth, or fame. But the land's pulse warned him. It did not want conquest or exploitation. It wanted respect, understanding, and patience. He closed his eyes and let the energy of the heart flow through him. He felt the rhythm of the planet, the pulse of every memory, every soul who had walked this ground. And he made his choice. To leave the heart untouched, to respect the land, and to carry only its lessons with him. The pulse of the structure slowed, then became steady, gentle. The shadows in the walls dissolved, leaving only a soft glow. Caleb felt lighter, freer, as if a weight had lifted from his chest. He had faced himself fully, accepted his past, and understood the importance of respect for the land. Eris stepped beside him. You have chosen well, she said. Few travelers can make this choice. The land grants clarity to those who accept it. You have learned patience, honesty, and courage. You are ready for what comes next. Caleb nodded, feeling a quiet satisfaction. He looked at the glowing heart structure one last time, feeling a deep connection to the land. It had slowed his heart, yes, but in doing so, it had opened it, revealed it, and purified it. He understood now that Slow Rock's power was not to trap or control. It was to teach, to guide, and to transform those who came with open hearts. As they left the plateau and returned toward the town, the land seemed to hum gently beneath his feet, a quiet reassurance. Caleb glanced back at the structure, still glowing softly in the fading light, and knew that its secrets were not his to take, but its lessons were. The sky darkened as the twin suns dipped lower, and the town below began to glow with its own soft light. Caleb felt a profound sense of peace, tempered by the knowledge that his journey was far from over. Slow Rock had given him insight, reflection, and understanding, but it also reminded him that every choice carried consequence, and every heart must learn to beat with honesty and courage. That night, as Caleb lay on the inn bed, he felt the slow pulse of the land even in his sleep. Dreams came to him clearly, memories mingling with visions of the glowing heart and the shimmer of the canyon. And though he would face more challenges ahead, he knew he would never forget what Slow Rock had taught him, to face himself, to respect the land, and to move forward with clarity and courage. The place where the land slows the heart had revealed its secrets. Caleb had seen the heart of the land, and he had made his choice. And somewhere deep within, he felt the quiet promise that the pulse he had followed was not the end, it was only the beginning. The sun rose slowly over Slow Rock, stretching long golden shadows across the town and the plateau beyond. Caleb Quinn woke with a calm in his chest that he had not felt in years. The pulse of the land, though softer now, still echoed gently in his heartbeat, reminding him that the lessons of Slow Rock were not over. He dressed carefully, pulling on his long duster and fastening the straps of his utility belt. Outside, the town moved with its usual deliberate pace. People walked slowly, their expressions peaceful, almost serene. Caleb noticed the glow of the morning light reflecting off the alien flora along the streets. Everything seemed sharper, clearer, yet slower, as if the world itself were giving him space to think. Eris met him outside the inn, her eyes bright in the morning sun. "You have rested well," she said. "The land is patient, Caleb. But now it is time to make your final choice." Caleb nodded. He had already faced the heart of Slow Rock, seen the memories he had tried to hide, and accepted the truths of his past. But there was still the decision the land had offered him. The knowledge, the energy, the power he could carry from the heart. It could help countless people, yet taking it would risk disturbing the balance of Slow Rock. "I understand," he said quietly. "I know what I must do." Eris led him back toward the plateau where the heart structure rested, glowing softly under the morning light. Caleb walked carefully, his boots sinking slightly into the soft sand, feeling the pulse of the land beneath him. The structure rose ahead like a silent guardian, alive yet calm, its rhythm steady and patient. "Will you take the knowledge?" Eris asked. "You could bring it back to other worlds. You could help many, Caleb." Caleb paused, looking at the structure. He felt the gentle pull of curiosity and ambition, the temptation to claim the power of Slow Rock for himself. But beneath it he sensed something stronger, the need for respect, the lesson the land had been teaching all along. Taking the knowledge would be easy, but it would not honor the land or the lives that had come before him. "No," he said finally. "I cannot take it. Not yet. Some things are not ours to claim. I will leave it here as it should be. The land, it teaches, it guides, but it is not for conquest." Eris smiled, a mixture of relief and pride in her eyes. "Few travelers can make this choice. The land has tested you and found you worthy. You may leave now, but carry its lessons with you. They are the true treasure of Slow Rock." Caleb stepped closer to the heart, letting his hand hover above its glowing surface. He could feel the pulse beneath his palm, steady and calm, like a giant heartbeat of the planet itself. Closing his eyes, he breathed in the energy, not to take it, but to connect with it. He felt the presence of every soul who had come before, the explorers, the settlers, the lost travelers. Their memories swirled gently, a river of time and experience. Caleb felt a sense of belonging, not ownership. After a long moment, he stepped back. The pulse softened, as if acknowledging his respect. Caleb felt lighter than he had in years. The heaviness of guilt and regret lifted by understanding and acceptance. He turned to Eris. "Thank you," he said simply. "You're welcome," she replied. "Slow Rock changes those who listen. You will carry its rhythm with you, even when you leave. But remember, the land will always remember you too. Treat it with care, and it will guide you again when needed." As they descended the plateau, Caleb noticed the figures of other travelers who had once been trapped in Slow Rock. They moved slowly, but now their eyes were clearer, their faces relaxed. The land had released them, allowing them to continue their journey. Some walked back into town, others mounted vehicles to leave the plateau, but all carried a quiet peace that spoke of understanding. Caleb and Eris returned to the inn, where breakfast awaited. The aroma of warm bread and roasted seeds filled the air. They sat quietly at a table near the window, watching the slow rhythm of life in the town. Caleb noticed how even the children moved more deliberately, their laughter soft and musical, blending with the wind and the hum of the alien flora. Eris spoke softly. "Slow Rock does not change instantly. It teaches slowly, carefully. Even when you leave, the lessons will grow within you. You will see the effects in your choices, your patience, your heart." Caleb nodded. He thought about the memories he had faced, the truths he had accepted, and the choice he had made not to take the knowledge of the heart. He felt a clarity he had never experienced before. The land had slowed his heart, yes, but it had also opened it, teaching him the value of patience, understanding, and respect. After breakfast, Caleb prepared to leave. He mounted his hover horse, feeling the familiar hum beneath him. The town was quiet, the streets emptying as the morning light grew stronger. Caleb glanced back at Slow Rock, at the glowing heart structure atop the plateau, and felt a deep sense of gratitude. "You'll return one day," Eris said, "or perhaps you won't. But know this, the land will remember you, as you have respected it. You are part of its history now." Caleb nodded. "I won't forget it. I'll carry its lessons wherever I go." He turned his hover horse toward the horizon, the twin suns glinting off the glowing plants and shimmering rocks. The plains stretched endlessly, inviting him to travel further, to explore new worlds, yet always carrying the slow rhythm of Slow Rock in his chest. As he rode, Caleb thought about the people he had met, the travelers who had been freed, and the pulse of the land that had guided him through the canyon and the heart. He realized that Slow Rock was not a place to conquer or escape, but a place to understand, to reflect, and to grow. The land slowed the heart not to trap, but to teach, and those who listened left forever changed. For the first time in many years, Caleb felt at peace. The weight of regret and guilt had eased, replaced by clarity and acceptance. He knew he had choices ahead, challenges to face, and journeys to complete. But he also knew that he carried something far more valuable than knowledge or power: the rhythm of the land, the lessons of patience, and the courage to face his own heart. The wind shifted, carrying the faintest pulse of energy from the plateau behind him. It was not a call, but a whisper, a reminder that Slow Rock's presence was eternal, patient, and alive. Caleb did not look back again. He focused on the road ahead, letting the slow rhythm of the land guide him forward. As the suns climbed higher in the sky, Caleb rode through the desert plains, the shadows stretching long and graceful behind him. The land around him shimmered faintly, alive in its own quiet way, reflecting the choices he had made and the clarity he had gained. Every step of the hover horse, every gust of wind, every subtle glow of alien flora reminded him of the lessons of Slow Rock. By evening, he reached the edge of the plains, where the desert gave way to rocky hills and distant valleys. Caleb stopped for a moment, taking in the view. He felt the pulse of the land still faintly, a gentle rhythm in his chest. The journey ahead was uncertain, full of challenges he could not yet foresee. But he carried with him a strength that had not existed before, the understanding that the land's lessons were not meant to be conquered, but lived. Caleb whispered to himself almost unconsciously, "Thank you, Slow Rock." He mounted his hover horse once more, feeling the wind against his face, and rode into the horizon. The land behind him faded softly into the distance, but the rhythm, the heartbeat, and the lessons remained. And somewhere deep inside, Caleb knew that Slow Rock would always be with him, guiding him, slowing his heart when he needed it most, and teaching him the value of patience, courage, and understanding. The place where the land slows the heart had given him its gift, and Caleb Quinn, lone cowboy of the frontier, carried it forward, ready to meet whatever lay ahead with a steady hand, an open mind, and a heart tempered by the wisdom of the land.